Welcome to Code Savvy Presents, a podcast about computer science, technology, accessibility, and inclusion. Introduce yourself and tell us all about you.
So my name's Steve Buchanan. I work in the technology field. I'm based in the Twin Cities in Minnesota here. I actually work for Microsoft, so I work in engineering on Azure, and I focus on open source and Kubernetes. But I'm also involved in like tech community, both through like Microsoft, open source, and through just groups like Blacks in Technology. I also work with groups like BDPA. I'm an author, speak all over the world. So I've presented in like Europe, places in Africa, of course, in the US. And I do Pluralsight courses. So put out training out there. I'm a blogger as well. I think I mentioned I author, so I've written like 8 books.
What are your books about?
They're
Are
all,
they
they're
all
all
tech? All
they're
tech?
all tech books. So
Okay.
they range from like data center management topics to like containers and Kubernetes and cloud and hybrid cloud. So yeah, they're all tech based.
Awesome. All right.
So
What got you started in technology? What was kind of the inspiration for you getting into tech?
so I stumbled into it, right? I was just offered a job in high school, and they were going to teach me about computers. The pay was good for a young person at the time. It was like $9 an hour
Oh man.
back in the back in the 90s.
Right?
So I'm like, sign me up. And then when I got in there, right, they were teaching me, and I was like a PC tech and a field tech, and I was working on Windows 3.1, installing that and
Okay.
troubleshooting all that kind of stuff, and then Windows 95, 98, and et cetera, et cetera. Um,
And the young people are like, "What is he this is gibberish.
yeah,
What does this
it's
mean?"
all like, and like Windows NT, NT4, like I was installing servers and learned all about that in the early days of Active Directory and like all those kind of things
Yeah.
that come along in that Microsoft world. But I started working in networking. They were teaching me about that, so I got exposure to like VPNs, like site-to-site VPNs, and
Yeah.
just doing a ton of stuff there, working with 3Com and some routing, and I got really interested in it. And I started to look at the job market of what other people were making, like MCSEs, for
Yeah.
those that might remember back in those days. And I was blown away. I'm like, these people are making really good money. Um, this job is fun. Like, this doesn't
Yeah.
feel like work. And so that prompted me to go further in it and decide to pursue a degree in technology and go to a boot camp,
Okay.
hype school. There's a whole story behind that. It didn't pan out quite the way that it was supposed to, but
Things rarely do.
yeah, that really like just set me down the path, like getting that hands-on experience with it, working in the field, understanding what a person could make in the field, where it could go, and being challenged and seeing the variety. And also, I was working with customers right away,
Yeah.
and you know, customers would come to us when their stuff was broken or they needed a solution. Like I was working with point of sale systems.
Okay.
I remember going into cafes or restaurants and their POSs were down, helping them fix that, get stuff back up, and they'd be super happy, right? And just thankful. And that was gratifying as well, just like helping people
Yeah.
and helping solve their problems and figure out things, right? So that was a part of it as well.
So does that combination of that tech piece and the helping people, is that kind of what drew you to getting involved with Blacks in Technology? Was that more community piece of it?
So my community piece started where um, I was in a different role and I was tasked with doing a migration of a new technology. I'm talking it was out for maybe a few months.
Okay.
And so the documentation was super light from the vendor, which was Microsoft at the time.
Yep.
And like other people were not, there weren't a ton of blogs and forum threads out there on it, but there were some. And the ones that were out there saved me.
Okay.
It really helped me avoid a lot of pain. And so then I realized, like, hey, I need to contribute to this pool of knowledge.
Yep.
That led me down the path of like getting involved in community. And then that just led to more things, right? And fast forward, I've been in tech for geez, like 23 years now.
Right.
Um, and most of the time there hasn't been black people in tech, like not a lot of us, right?
Right.
Many times I'm the only one in the room.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate though, early on in my career, there was a black guy in North Minneapolis who had started his own tech company. This was my second tech job. And
Okay.
so I got a chance to work with him, which was really great. I learned a lot in that role and just working with him as well. But beyond that, like I'd be the only one in the room. And so I found out about groups like BDPA, Black Data Processing Associates. I got
Yeah.
involved in that early on, kind of faded away from them for a while, reconnected. And then I found out about Blacks in Technology, and I was like, wow, this is
Mm,
like a group for us that work in the field, that are professionals, like doing this day to day.
yep.
Is not all focused on diversity and inclusion. It's focused on like, let's get together as Blacks that are working in tech and talk about the actual technology.
Yeah.
And then that led to what didn't lead to, but Greg Greenlee, the founder, was um, putting on the first Blacks in Tech conference in Minnesota. And I was going to the meetings, and then I got connected to Greg, and I just got more involved and have just kind of stayed connected over time. And what led me to getting involved in it is just wanting to promote Black folks that are already in tech, but help other folks um, get involved in the technology and just like expand the network.
Right. Well, and help people expand their minds, right?
Right. That's
um, how do you, I'm going to skip around a little bit. How do you see technology and innovation impacting the Black community, either now or in the future? Like, what does that look like to you?
well, number one, if we can get more folks from Black communities to get into this field, get the skills, like a career in tech can be a game changer, right? Can be life changing
Right.
for folks that get into it. And so, first and foremost, I see jobs, and not just jobs. I don't want to use that like career, being a game changer for individuals, being
Okay.
something that individuals can come in and into this career and make like really good money and take care of their families, provide for their families, like provide for their kids, have enough money to save for college for their kids and stuff like that. And for me, um, it's exposed me to the world, right?
Right.
I have friends all over the world from tech. Like just this,
It's the connector that
it's the connector.
threads through all of you.
Just earlier this week, I'm working with someone that's become a friend of mine. He's in Croatia. Like that's through tech.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm connected with folks that are in Nigeria, Ghana, like all over. And so it's an expander. And
Yeah.
so I see that helping the Black community too, just like exposure and being able to expand. And then through the technologies themselves. So I think of Turn Signal, right? As an
Yep.
example, company startup that's born out of Minnesota, headquartered here, but is growing super fast,
Massive,
right?
massive
And
growth.
those founders saw, well, didn't see, I mean,
They acknowledge
they
the reality.
there's been a problem for a long time, and they're like, this is a problem of policing in the Black communities, and they're like, how can we use technology to help this?
Yeah.
be a solution as a part of this problem. And so after all this stuff happened with George Floyd and everything in Minnesota, um, being killed, and they started out on this journey with this startup. And so there you have technology like with a positive impact,
Absolutely. Yeah,
right?
no,
So
it's a great Minnesota startup story, and just like using tech to solve a major community problem that we have.
thinking of that story and just thinking, can we get the youth in Black communities
Yep,
exposed to technology? Can we get adults? Can we get folks exposed to it? So, their creativity will come into tech and they'll be able to leverage tech to create solutions to solve problems, right?
absolutely.
That other folks that are not in those communities don't
Would never think
have
of.
intimate knowledge of. And so,
Right.
you know, we got to get the skills and the tech into the hands of folks that are going to create the solutions, right?
Absolutely.
Just like turn signal.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. What would be some words of advice that you would give to Black youth who are looking to get more involved in technology?
Well, like we were just talking, Valerie, before actually recording about all these different programs and stuff that are available that are free,
Yep.
like Code Savvy. There's stuff going on with the SNA Foundation, MN STEM Partners, BDPA, even Blacks in Tech.
Yep.
And like Marlena Love, she's involved with some startup stuff and some youth programs at the Sabathany Center in South
We
Minneapolis.
just we just did a training there this weekend.
There's there's a ton of stuff, right?
Yep.
Microsoft with Man Code and what's happening with 100 Black men. At Microsoft, we have Student Minority Day coming up. Um, Dr. Wolf and MMSTEM partnership just did a program and design challenge at Target's headquarters. There's tons of stuff and opportunities for Black folks to get involved and start to learn these skills. And so there's resources that are available.
Yep.
So jump in and then get exposure to it, kind of explore, figure out what you want to do. As we were talking about before recording, um, there's so many different avenues you can go down within tech, right? You could
Right.
do the coding, you could do more of the administration, you could go on to become a CIO, you could do project management, you could do sales,
Yep.
right? Tech companies need marketing or
Every
even,
kind of position.
yeah. I was just talking to a woman at Target, Target Corporation. She runs a program where they Target as a boot camp free for folks that want to get into tech.
Yeah.
And so she runs that program. She's doing something in tech, and it's not where you have to be like heads down coding day to day. So there's so many opportunities.
Right.
You could become a professor where you're teaching tech at a university, right? And
Yep.
so get in, start to get some exposure, explore, study the career fields, and understand the different avenues of careers within tech. And there's a lot of opportunity. And then don't be discouraged if you're in environments where there's not a lot of folks that look like you. Just keep knocking on the door, keep opening the door and walking through it, and don't let anyone like discourage you from making this a choice for a career field for you.
Right. Right. I love that. So lastly, but not least, tell us a little bit about what Blacks in Technology has on the docket coming up. Like, what does the future programming look like? Any initiatives that you're doing, or things that people might want to get involved in?
Yeah, so we're still in the process of planning for 2023. Marlena Love and like Andrew Clark are core to the Blacks in Technology group for the Twin Cities. I'm helping out. There's some other folks helping out, like Brianna McCullough,
I love
Dennis
her.
Hodges. There's like a lot of folks that
Yeah.
are getting involved to kind of help out, and we're gonna have some regular reoccurring meetings with more speakers
Awesome.
from different areas of tech. Like we're gonna have a speaker come in who is a woman that heads up a sales department at a successful startup. We're going to probably have some more cybersecurity sessions. We're going to have some monthly meetings around like career tip and career focused, like resume writing, interviewing, and
Awesome.
tech stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of meetings coming up. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, there's always like different happy hours that BIT Twin Cities does. There's going to be other events, and check out the website. There's an events page on there, so you'll want to stay up to date through that. We're going to do another Amplify event coming this summer where we'll bring in different ERGs from a bunch of different companies. Arctic Wolf is going to be involved in that. And the Blacks in Technology conference is coming up this year again, and I think it's in Nashville.
Okay.
And so get connected with BIT Twin Cities, and we're an extension of the larger BIT. And so you can stay up to date on what's happening with that conference and go to that conference.
Yeah,
Right?
network and start meeting the people that will help you on your journey, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I will we'll link to the I know you said you had a Slack channel that people
Yeah.
can get involved with. Locally here there's a channel for Twin Cities. So we'll link to that in our show notes, and I just want to thank you so much, A, for all of the work that you do in tech and bringing community together, and B, for meeting with me today to talk about it. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for highlighting BIT.
Yeah, absolutely. Code Savvy Presents is produced by Code Savvy, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to making computer science accessible. Visit us at www.codesavvy.org.
Are you a high school student who wants to learn to code? Well, this summer you've got the chance. Girls Who Code is accepting applications for our free virtual summer programs. The deadline to apply is March 24th. Girls and non-binary high school students with any level of coding experience are eligible. We strongly encourage students who are from historically underrepresented backgrounds in tech to apply. The Summer Immersion Program is a free 2-week virtual program for 9th through 11th graders, and this year we're excited to offer a new curriculum in game design. When you apply, you are eligible for a $300 student grant and tech support for students who qualify. This summer, you can start building your professional network with our mentors, partners, and alumni. You'll build your computer science skills, which are helpful in any industry, and you'll make meaningful friends and connections in the Girls Who Code sisterhood. Apply today at girlswhocode.com/summerapply. The deadline is March 24th.